Kia ora Tato, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Another playtest solo game of the new rules I'm working on. This game is a bit smaller force-wise, and I'm working on a scenario that I am calling meeting engagement. Let's take a look at the troops and the mission, eh?
Okay, my next playtest game, the British force got a platoon of infantry, 3 sections, Piet, light water, and HQ, a couple of Staghound armoured cars, 3 Shermans. The game I'm going to be playing is, I've called it meeting engagement. There are 4 objectives, 2 on either side of halfway, and you have to get over halfway and capture one of the objectives. The German force is going to be similarly mobile. We'll be looking to do the same. And here we have the German force. So Kamfgruppe HQ with an observer, platoon HQ with a Panzerschreck, 3 squads. Each squad's got 3 rifle teams and a MG42 team. They've got transports, a couple of armoured cars. I've got to build my second 250/9, I think, and then the 3 Panzer IVs. So the 2 forces are pretty much a mirror of each other. The idea is it's just going to be a bit of a fluid free-for-all as both sides are just pushing up the roads to try and capture the objectives.
Okay, and what I'm doing is trying to come up with a series of scenarios, probably half a dozen or so, so it's a wee bit like Flames of War in that regard, just for pickup type games. So this is what I'm calling meeting engagement. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but basically the attacker deploys in this area and their objectives have to be placed 6 inches beyond halfway. Alternate placing objectives. The defender is on the other side. So the idea is that the attacker's force has broken through the enemy lines and is pushing forward to see some important high ground or a crossroads or something. The Germans, or the defenders, Germans in this case, have thrown together a bit of a scratch Kamfgruppe to try and plug the gap in the line. So they're going to be clashing. I'm not sure. It's quite, it's a 6x4 board. It's quite narrow. Whether or not either force is going to be able to get to the objectives or not, or might just end up a bit of a slugfest, or you break the enemy. With regards to that, I've got a pretty simple system of combat strength. So a tank, destroyed tanks worth 3 points, an infantry stand is worth 1, and a gun or an armored car is worth 2. Add up the total combat strength of your force and divide it by 2 to see when the company or Kampfgruppe breaks. In this case, I think both forces work out about 28 combat strength, or 30 maybe, so the break point's about 14 or 15 for both of them. As I said, I'm not sure it's going to work. I've made a table that's quite heavy on terrain to block line of sights because it is quite a narrow board, and I'm interested to see how this little test works out. Okay, pretty straightforward scenario, as I said. I've tried to put lots of line of sight blocking terrain scattered about. The Germans have to start behind this line. We've got 2 armoured cars. So reconnaissance units can start on table and 3 other units. So the Germans have got 2 infantry squads, and I think up here I've also put the Panzerschreck in that transport. And they've got to try and capture these objectives. I don't think the objectives will be live till turn 3, and that's when the rest of the force can start coming on from reserve. And for the British, they're leading with the 2 Staghounds, 2 rifle sections, and that's the platoon HQ there. And again, they've got to try and capture these objectives. So the one or the other force could zoom up here and up to the crossroads and be within 3 inches of the objective and potentially try and win it early, but hopefully that won't work. We will see. On to the game.
Turn 1, Germans went first. Just moved their transports forward and deployed into the buildings. Same over on the other side. Followed the roads and have advanced. And they have, fortified that building as well to stop the British. In their turn, British have advanced and debussed from this transport. Stackhounds moved, both of them, and the other infantry have disembarked against the tree line here. So on to turn number 2. Turn 2, British went first. Stackhound spotted the German armoured car and hit it. Needed a 6 to damage it and rolled a 5 on 2d6. And then in its turn, the German spotted the Stackhound and rolled a 10 with its damage dice after hitting it and caused the damage, but the Staghound stayed there. So that was pretty impressive. The other Staghound advanced, tried to spot the German armoured. It tried to spot a truck, I think, but failed, and then the truck drove off. Both sides took off their trucks, and then the German Panzerschreck team advanced down the road, tried to take a shot at the Staghound, but missed. So not a great deal of action on turn 2, but turn 3, reserves starting to arrive. From here on, it's going to be a D3 reserves per turn for both sides. Turn 3, the Germans went first. The Panzerschreck here destroyed a Staghound. They got one reserve. Panzer 4 came on, failed to hit the Staghound at long range, and same the German armoured car down over here, failed to hit the Staghound, and the Staghound likewise failed to hit it. And then towards the end of the turn, British reserves came on, 2 Shermans. So on the British left hand side of the table is where they're trying to push forward to secure the objective here. And this is where their artillery hit. Tried to range in on that building which has got the Germans in it, and it drifted. They did a couple of hits, but both were saved and no pins on the Germans. So on to turn 4. Okay, things are heating up in turn 4. The Staghound destroyed the 250/9 armoured car. British reserves came on and ran into that building. The section over there got suppressed by the Germans from the building over there. The Panzerschreck retreated behind the armoured car. The armoured car, I think, was who was responsible for the suppression on there. British mortars and also the Germans failed to hit that building. The infantry tried to shoot, and then the Germans responded and ended up suppressing them, and then in the Germans' turn killed a stand. So Germans have lost 1 stand, 1 combat strength, and the British have lost 2 as we turn towards turn 5. Turn 5. Panzer 4 advanced, missed the Shermans, and then the Shermans in their turn missed it. British fired smoke. The idea was to be down here, but it drifted a bit just to protect that infantry unit. Around this way, Shermans advanced. The British, with the red section, they rallied off. They were suppressed. They rallied off 1 and the other infantry moved over here, fighted the Germans, but the Germans saved. Panzer IV's advancing, another Panzer IV's advancing. So the objectives, as you can see, the British have to capture this one. It's quite heavily defended now, and by the same token, the Germans have to try and capture this one, which has got 2 sections and now a Sherman approaching it as well. So on to turn number 6. Here we go on turn 6. British went first. The Shermans managed to miss that building. That smoke's about to disappear. Panzer IV advanced in its turn using the smoke as cover. The Second also missed the building. A lot of action over here. British advanced and they put some, I think they took a stand off that German squad, but then the Germans responded and have suppressed those guys. The Sherman also advanced and it tried to shoot at those infantry without success. Panzer IVs both advanced, both missed the Sherman. The Piet team had tried to take a shot at the armoured car but missed, and then the armoured car withdrew, and then this infantry squad advanced across from the building to the open and suppressed the Piet. So a bit of pressure on this flank for the British. The Germans have got a couple of tanks and a couple of squads. The one's pinned or suppressed. The other side, it's a bit of a stalemate really. The British need to start doing something before too much longer. Okay, turn 7. The Germans had the advantage. They tried to press that home against a single Sherman. Panzer IV advanced but failed to hit the Sherman. The squad over here, there they go. They assaulted and killed the Piet team. And then in the British turn, the Sherman fired and hit the Panzer IV there, brooded up. And then at the end of the turn, the British mortars ranged in and they managed to destroy the armoured car. So -5 to the combat strength for the Germans. So they're on to 7. And then over here, bit of a gun duel. The Panzer IV missed, but the Shermans have now put a couple of pins on. They failed to penetrate, but that Panzer IV is suppressed as well. So at present, advantage is swung slightly towards the British as we head to turn 8. Okay, the Germans went first. Panzer IV knocked out the Sherman, so the British have got 8 losses versus the Germans 7 now. The Shermans both failed to hit the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV rallied off 1 pin, so it's no longer suppressed, it's just pinned. And this infantry squad advanced. They rolled off a pin and advanced. If you rally, which is a 4+ for most infantry, you can either move or shoot, but there's a penalty for shooting. They decided to advance and hope to get initiative next round. And over here, the Panzerschreck retreated to safety. The British are in a bit of trouble because you've got 1 suppressed section, 1 section with which has got a pin on it, but the German squad assaulted the light mortar and destroyed that and captured that building. So they've now got the British outflanked. So on to turn 9. Right, successful turn. The Germans assaulted and killed the remains of that squad in there. The Sherman had to advance to contest, or the Germans would win the game. The other Sherman had actually knocked out the Panzer IV earlier in the turn. Over here, the Germans assaulted and were successful in there. The British tried to shoot them, but the Germans saved everything. Towards the end of the turn, The British artillery ranged in on that house and suppressed both the platoon commander back there, and also there's a fort observer who's in that building, and he's suppressed as well. So both sides have had 10 losses. The Germans break at 13, the British at 14, so it's definitely coming down to the wire. Okay, I hadn't tried a tank assault before, and I'm not sure about these rules, but they seem to work. The Germans passed the morale check. They charged. They took one ping coming in. The British tank did 2 hits, which suppressed the Germans, but didn't kill anybody. The Germans got 3 hits, and I just made it say versus the side armor of the tank. Gave the Germans an anti-tank value of 1. They rolled a double 6, so they actually knocked out the Sherman, and that was enough to end the game, because over here the British were also in trouble. They'd been a close assault by that German section. That was its 3rd close assault, and they drove the British back, causing 2 casualties on them. So the Germans win. The damaged Staghound wasn't able to shoot. The Sherman had to move forward to contest that objective, or the Germans won. So anyway, so close. The rules seem to have worked. Not too many issues. I've just got to figure out the close combat versus tanks rules a wee bit better, I think. But yeah, overall, that was quite successful.
Yeah, as I just said, that seemed to work quite nicely. The rules seem to flow quite well. I've made close assaults quite bloody to encourage people getting stuck in and routing the enemy if possible, and that seems to work. Figuring out the 2 hit tables and stuff and the number of dice, I think it's not too bad at present. Just have to check the armor values and armor piercing values of some of the guns to make sure that they're within the range that I want them to be. But yeah, as I said, it seemed to work. This game was just a platoon of infantry and 3 tanks aside and a couple of armored cars. I might try it again tomorrow. Same table, but add a 2nd platoon of infantry and no transports, and see if the battle works as well with more infantry on board. But for now, that will do. Happy with that. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, ka kite anō. Take care.